In the grand scheme of our ability to perceive information, words only have as much power as you give them. If someone rushed you with insults, they're either trying to do one of two things. One, get a negative reaction out of you, or two, leave you feeling unhappy regardless of your expression. I came up with those 2 points in a few seconds, there might be more. Which is why, the way I see it, when you decide to be the bigger person, they mock you for turning your back on the idea of stooping to their level of stupidity. They are still trying to hurt your feelings. Such individuals are emotionally driven. Having enough emotional intelligence to spot this in another person would defeat the entire purpose of their argument. However, since it's so much easier to skip the logistics of human nature, a term I'll refer to several times on my channel, we head straight down the short and simple path of retaliation. What did you say? Who are you talking to? I will F you up. That's why I F'd your You get the idea. I'm not saying to tolerate disrespect. What I am saying is that opting to disengage from such farce after taking a moment to breathe and analyze the situation you're in will save the human race a lot of time. The problem with the complexity of human emotions is that even the logic I just stated is as smooth as wired Apple headphones being pulled out of your pocket after 3 nanoseconds. It's not smooth. Some people just assume that laughing off the fact that another individual is making blatant attempts to defile your image is the tolerance of disrespect, which then gives their friend group the right to call them a pussy. Any mature individual would not be using such language in such context to put their mates down, but people nowadays, no thanks to social media algorithms, are so deep in their echo chambers that they wouldn't be able to tell if they were being immature. But yes, to an extent, laughing certain things off can be the tolerance of disrespect. What you let trigger your retaliations to certain degrees dictate the kind of man or woman you are. How you let forces such as how you think other people perceive you also dictate the kind of adult you are. You live without the anxiety of wondering what others think of you if you have enough confidence in your own character. You also wouldn't have to tolerate much disrespect if you clearly state your boundaries without overthinking yourself into silence. The problem with this is the reason why I decided to make this video. We think a lot of things are offensive nowadays when they aren't. Everyone's perception of the world is literally different. Every sentence spoken in your brain has been formulated by neurons that worked with one another. We all have neurons, but they are all shaped and wired differently, which means that everyone's personality is different. One thing you cannot do is tell me that there's at least more than one brain that thinks the same way. Unless they're identical twins, I don't really know about that. I want to give you an extreme example and a relevant example of what I'm saying. Regarding words having as much power as you give them as well as your perception of the world differing, let's use language as my extreme example. If I recite to you the most brutal insults in French, you'll either laugh at me for sounding weird, question my illiteracy, or ask me to repeat my sentence because you're insecure and thought the misunderstanding was your fault. I'm joking. However, if you understood French, your reaction would have been much different from the first view. Your options now go from whatever they were to, excuse me? I know you're not talking to me like that. Or physical altercation. Since our perception of the same information varied, the French sentence could have either been gibberish or disrespectful. Now, how many people in the world speak French? Not a large portion, but just enough for you to understand that such language is inappropriate and should probably just sit in your imagination. Now, for a real example. Take the language example and shrink it down to your region. If it was the rest of the world versus French speakers, it's now your country versus an audience large enough to have a voice. In your country, news about the actions of a certain public figure has been circulating. Here's what happens. The group of people who are disconnected from the media are unfazed. The group that has seen and lived through much worse are unfazed. The group that consumes media for entertainment probably laugh. The group that understands that some people make mistakes that shouldn't be on display for the world to see may sympathize with the public figure. However, the group that crucify public images on their free time are angry. Now let me ask you this. What emotion tends to have a louder voice on the internet? Rank these in order. Is it A, happiness, B, gratitude, C, anger, or D, fear? If you ask me, the order goes C, D, then A or B. Happiness is cool and all, but human beings don't tend to be entertained by someone else's success as much as they would be with anger or fear. Fear has kept humanity alive for 300,000 years. When humans are faced with a threat to their life, fear kicks in and keeps them safe. If you want to play the tough guy, good luck wrestling an alligator. Whose genes do you think were passed on? Now, when we see headlines like impending missile crisis, or China will collapse in 31 days, or breaking news, COVID-20 just dropped, we can't help but read into it. It concerns us. Getting ahead of the curve benefits us as a species. You know what tickles our neurons even more? A study was run on the human brain. When the subject was shown or told unfortunate news about a random person, the first emotion they felt was pity. Humans are compassionate. We just feel bad for one another. Now the subject was told that the next person had achieved a status or a certain lifestyle that many of us would desire. When they were told unfortunate news about this person, they expressed pity, but their brain scan showed otherwise. The patient's brain experienced pleasure, some sort of relief that successful individuals can experience unhappiness too. I'm sure that by now half of you can see where this video is going. My conclusion is, on the internet, there is a group of individuals who blatantly attempt to defile one's image. Now, why would anyone spend their free time spreading anger or hate? What do they personally gain by spreading simultaneous hateful speech from the comfort of their bedrooms? Do they get paid? If that's what your platform is based on, then yes. However, according to the study, humans do this to feel better about themselves. There is nothing else to gain from canceling someone other than a release your brain gives you if that's where you find pleasure. Me personally, I have felt this before. When I was a teenager, I disliked certain SoundCloud artists for being popular. Why wasn't I popular? Aren't I special? Why am I still living under the jurisdiction of my parents with not a penny in my pocket while kids my age fly around the world doing shows? I would have loved for one of their planes to crash. Anyways, that is the problem with social media. I would never try to cancel someone, but it's way too easy to compare your life to someone else's. I did fall victim to this. Today, I no longer have Instagram or TikTok on my phone. I am giving my mind a break from such entertainment. You guys should see how much greener the grass looks in my eyes when I go to the park instead of scrolling on my phone for 6 hours a day. That was a very kind estimate. I think one time I saw the number 16. That's how long I was awake for. We aren't here to speak about me though, maybe in a future video, but back on topic, knowing why people take the time out of their day to dish out insults is important. Being the bigger person doesn't make you soft. It means that you understand your opponent's agenda and you aren't falling for it. If you give them the reaction they are looking for, they'll feel that pleasure. Don't let the BS get in your head. Demanding your respect is not the same thing as fighting back. Do not blur those lines. In my opinion, I believe that everyone's complex perception of the world gives us an infinite variation of possible reactions. These reactions thicken in echo chambers and brew communities that believe their view is superior. Here's where it gets interesting to me though. This is just my speculation, so consume this information how you will. This is my perception, and I record this video to share it and collect your opinions, so I'll be reading every single comment. They are all important to me. With that being said, feel free to like or dislike. Compassion advanced our race in numbers. Compassionate humans reproduce and maintain their safety through teamwork at an exponential rate. Since humans are compassionate, when we share a platform with individuals who gain pleasure through spreading their unhappiness, we can't help but feel concerned. They are so mad. Does that make us wrong? Should we conform to their beliefs? Should we find a middle ground? Again, humans are way too complex to just have one right answer. Every single one of us will have a different point of view. They will be insanely similar, but our thought process will always vary. The moment the rules are bent to please one angry group of individuals with agendas you don't understand, you give birth to another group of angry individuals who were once quiet or were just waiting for something to complain about. It never ends, and this only gets worse if the number of individuals on a platform continues to increase. My theory of compassion bleeds into business. This is where it gets unfortunate. Listen to my thought process. A founder is struck with an allegation against him or her. Their shareholders catch wind of this and are now uncertain. Shareholders hate uncertainty. If their money is at risk, all they have to do is pull their funding from the business with the shady founder. Why would they do that though? Words only have as much power as we give them, right? When someone has an allegation against them, the group of individuals itching to get some work done, people looking to cancel the next person, now has something to do. Spreading hate against the founder and encouraging customers to stop shopping at their business is the next step for the cancel culture community. It will make them feel good about themselves, definitely. Otherwise, there's no reason to go out of your way. Humans don't do things for absolutely nothing. Now, with all of these angry individuals doing their jobs, customers see this but can't help but use their primal instincts. Oh no, maybe it's best if I look for the same product elsewhere. Surely, all of these people couldn't be complaining at the same time for no reason, right? Those reasons vary in the infinitive imaginations of the customers. They conclude that the canceling community is angry for reasons that they themselves would be angry for, failing to understand the culture's agenda, massaging their brains. Shareholders know this. The moment the allegations were released, funding has been withdrawn. The founder now has to fire their employees, sell their land, inventory, and every other asset, then pay off their liabilities. The business just fell apart. The founder now has no job. That's what you get, scumbag. The canceller thinks in their pleasure-filled minds. Results are out. The founder has been proven innocent. Not so sure if the damage to the individual's life can be undone, but hey, at least the truth is out. If you'll dig it up. Cancel culture won't. I mean, when have you ever heard one of them apologize? You all get the idea. If you've watched this far, you're either interested in me or understand where I'm coming from. I've done this much speaking not because you lack intelligence, but because I want to make sure that we are all on the same page. You perceive my information differently from how I've explained it, but you and I have one thing in common. This topic is interesting. Unfortunately for all of us on the internet, spreading hate is also interesting to some people. That is the loudest form of expression on the internet after all. It's just so much more entertaining. Going on Twitter and spreading a hashtag on an algorithm designed in Silicon Valley is not going to prevent World War III. Human beings have always practiced compassion, which gives cancel culture such a loud microphone, like a baby that won't stop crying. Should we ignore it or give it the metric ton of sugar it demands so we can sleep?